Want to help support the channel? Then why not check out the merch that's available from the links below in the description. Help out the channel and get more phenomenal stuff for yourself. And now with that, let's jump straight into the video. Hey Ranger Nation, welcome back to another video. Today I kind of really wanted to talk about Power Rangers movie to home video. It's been a while since I've said home video because that was back in the day for when things used to be crazy with Disney and stuff like that. But if you're like me and you remember that sort of stuff, why not hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as that cheeky notification bell. And if you like Power Rangers, again, hit the like button, subscribe and all that. Why not check out the merchandise down below in the description and pick something up for yourself that will help the channel. So let's talk about this. Now, if you're like me and you like watching Super Sentai, you noticed that they do their 10-year movies, which is fine. Like, it's nice to see what the Rangers are doing, how a storyline is going to be a part of it. And, you know, now we've got Gokaiger. Next year is going to be Go Buster. It'll be interesting to see if they carry it on or if they're going to stop, or if they're going to keep going with the other Sentais. But I think they should do, because I feel like it's a great type of series. We've had Deca Ranger. I know there's been other ones like Hurricaneger and stuff like that. But I'm kind of thinking, like, what happens if Power Rangers had their own version? Now, obviously, I know that Hasbro won't produce this and put it in cinemas like Toei does with Super Sentai, what they do. I feel like they kind of like literally put it in for a week and then that's it. So home video would be an easier thing to do, or an online event at least. So at the time of this recording, which is in 2021, 10 years ago, I think was Samurai. So if I'm not, put it down below. Now, let's say they can get all the actors to come back and say, hey, let's make a story, you know, either something that was finished in the series that we never got to touch on, or the fact is that we've got another big story coming along, very similar to what we've seen in Super Sentai. You could easily make something and produce something for those fans if all the Rangers could come back. And I feel like you could put it in the contract, like, you know, regardless of what you do in the future, if you are free at the time of this, can you come back? Like, be dead nice, not you will come back. Now, I'm guessing that with Super Sentai, they have an entire second unit to film. So obviously they're off filming whichever one. So at the time of the Gokaiger film, they were filming for Zenkaiger, and things were kind of separate. So they'd have a second unit that they would go there. They'd still have the main director, or maybe they took a break, or maybe it was something different. If you know, again, put it down in the comments, because YouTube likes it when we've got comments. I feel like you could easily do this with Power Rangers, where, you know, if you could say, hey, we've got this story going on, we film this off in the distance, or we're going to carry on, and then obviously get the next ones in and say, hey, we're going to film this now, and then we're going to release it a year later, and kind of do this. Like, if you could easily do this over and over and over again with Power Rangers, which again would be a rinse and repeat thing. I do feel like the Ranger fandom does want to see what happened to this team at some point, because that's what they grew up with, or that's the season that they like. And I feel like it would be kind of cool. I think that you could probably do it with MMPR, you know, and start it off that way and kind of do it. Like, there is a thing where Amy Jo Johnson, this wasn't in my script at the time, but this is when Amy Jo Johnson says that she'll do a comic book focusing on where the Rangers are in their mid-40s. So I feel like you could kind of do this with Mighty Morphin and kind of do it each time, or at least start with maybe the most recent one, or whichever one it was 10 years ago, hence Samurai. But I feel like it'd be easy enough to do, and it wouldn't be the hardest thing to come up with a decent story, shoot it and kind of do it, you know, obviously if COVID wasn't around. With Grid Connection, we saw that, you know, you don't have to have the actors in suit. You could easily have them with doing voiceover or ADR. You know, we saw it with the green and pink Dino Charge Rangers. They came back and they were just like obviously voicing their parts. So you could easily say, hey, do you want to come do this? Oh, so you two aren't doing it. Do you mind being in ADR? We'll set it up in LA or whatever. Or, you know, if you've got your own home studio, I feel like you could easily do that if they didn't want to be on screen. And I think it would be kind of cool. Like, you could say like there's something wrong with the powers and that they've stuck with them, and you could easily show something like, oh my god, I can't demorph, what's going on? We saw it in Samurai when they did, I think, Clash of the Red Rangers, where they got Scott saying, oh, I don't want to demorph because the air is completely different here and we don't know what the main difference is. I feel like you could easily do something like that, and I think people would be like, do you know what, it's a good thing that you're doing it, I'm all right with it. I do think at times we need to see an entire big storyline, you know, even if it's like, say, for an hour or so, or spread it over multiple episodes. I do feel like this could be a thing, But in general right now, I would just be happy seeing some of the older Rangers, not just MMPR all the time, but some other Rangers just come back and be like, hey, still in this. And we know that they want to come back. We know that they want to turn around and say, hey, yeah, I'll be in this one. With Super Sentai, I always feel that they know how to make these things. They know exactly the formula that they've gotten down. And I feel like they do kind of make people want to watch rather than just oh, we've forgotten. And I think that's always the difference between Power Rangers and Super Sentai. Look at the anniversary seasons that they've done, Gokaija, Zenkaija. You know, you have a different atmosphere when it comes to anniversary seasons, where even though I don't think Zenkaija is up to standards of previous anniversary seasons and stuff like that, I just feel like they know a bit better than how Power Rangers does it. And I think that's a bit of a shame. I would love a proper anniversary season from Power Rangers, not just the generic one team up episode or something like that. With a movie, you're bringing back Rangers that people love or people want to see. Now I know Time Force was going to have its own movie, but that didn't happen due to contracts. I can't really remember too much about that one, but I also do know that I think Saban has it in their contract that, or used to, where for up to 5 years the Rangers would have to come back. And I think I remember speaking to Ciara and some of the Super Megaforce Rangers, you know, as long as it didn't interfere with their work or if they hadn't got anything, I knew that they could be called back for anything that way, which is fine, but also can be kind of annoying at the same point. The other series that we've seen, Clash of the Red Rangers, I see that as a movie, or kind of a really extended episode. We've seen it with the Super Megaforce, the Legendary Battle. Again, that could have been its own thing and extended. We've seen Dimensions in Danger, where all these things could be like hours long or like an hour at least to show, hey, we want this. You know, people would love to see it. Like, as much as I didn't really like Dimensions in Danger, I still loved the premise of it. I still wanted to see more. And I feel like having it up to 25 minutes, half an hour, didn't do its way, especially with the other things about having like Shadow Ranger as well as the Quantum Ranger coming back. Those would have been cool. That's what I would have loved to have seen more, and I feel like you could tell that story within an hour or an hour and 20 minutes. The same thing as what we've seen with Gokaija, as well as other kind of like 10-year anniversary episodes. Grid Connection was 5 episodes, and that was absolutely amazing. Even if people say it wasn't, it technically was when you look back at what they did. It just felt like it was really well done. It was just the ending that really let it down. But the build-up, that was fantastic. Okay, so kind of rounding this video up. With Super Sentai, like when they do their series, after a set amount of time, I always feel like they still put it in and make it as good as what they can do. You know, all the actors, like, they do the hardest work, and I like that. I feel like Power Rangers could do this. They've adapted Super Sentai, but they haven't adapted, I think, the spirit of it completely. You know, not from what I've seen over the years. I could be wrong, but I've not really seen it that much. When the series finishes, like, you know, they still bring the actors back to do the film. Like, they'll be in it like maybe 1 or 2 films afterwards. You know, we've got the mid film that they always do halfway through, which explains a little bit about stuff or gives them a superpower. But I feel like after that, they still come back, you know, for the Versus film, for one more film, which I think Power Rangers could do. Like, I think that's one of the formulas that I would have done when it comes to adapting Super Sentai. We saw it with Zenkaija when they had that mini thing film where you had the Red Zenkai, then obviously you had the marathon of like Rhea Soldier as well as Kira Major, and then you had Zenkaija, and they were really cool. Rhea Soldier had the whole thing with Red, Pink and Blue Masters coming back. Now I know Dino Fury hasn't done that. They could easily do a Morphing Masters type thing in there. Will they? Who knows? But, you know, you can do this, and if you released it to home video, I think people would really like it, and people would be stoked about it. The reason why I bring all of this up is due to the fact that Saban, you know, and the show isn't limited to just the actual main show. I always thought that they weren't able to produce films because of the contract that they had with Toei. You know, it was very kind of like, you can only do this. You don't have access to any of the films whatsoever. And I always kind of thought that was holding it back. I would have loved to have seen a film like it. But seeing, like, say, Snide in Dino Charge, they're able to use the characters. So I think that would be absolutely fine for it. But again, we don't normally see it. And I feel like, you know, you could pull these characters, but you know, I would love to see a film dedicated to it properly. Even looking at, like, say, Beast Morphers with, you know, Gold Arm Maximus, he was used. The fact is that they were able to use the footage much later on, which was absolutely fine. So again, you have all these things that can be used, but Saban at the time just couldn't be bothered. And I feel like that is a big main thing. Put time and effort into it and you'll get a better return. With the partnership between Netflix and Power Rangers or Hasbro, I feel like we could get these stories and it could be a lot better. But at the moment, I think time will tell from what we see. But majority of it, I'm quite happy. But now I want them to start producing more with this franchise, not just the normal series, but hopefully now with Nickelodeon not being a part of this, we could see the franchise actually shine and bloom. And obviously with the split happening, technically, we're going to see a lot more from Power Rangers. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Would you like to see more movies and stuff released to home video? It's so weird saying that. Or are you okay with what we've got? Let me know down below in the comments. While you're down there, hit the like button, hit subscribe, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Check out the merchandise that we have up for sale. And with that, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。